everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Deep Thoughts. And today we are talking about the final episode of Given, episode 11, Song 2. I would certainly be significantly more upset if I was not already made aware that we are definitely getting a continuation to Given. If you didn't know, yes, Given is getting a continuation. It's not a second season like I would have liked, but it is a movie, so we go into the big screen. I'm looking forward to it, knowing that there is more Given content outside of the manga. Makes me happy, so I'm looking forward to checking that out once it drops. But will you read the manga? No. Okay, well, maybe, but probably not. But hey, before we get into this week's episode of Given, I have to give a big shout out to those of you who shared last week's Given video over on Twitter. Namely, at Wreath Din Rose, at Corner Abba, at The Chillas N1, at The Official Joy, at Nacho Gashardo, at Hi Bye Bye, at Sokochi Anime, at That Shipper Gal, at Kalido Musings, at Morgan Romero, and at Big Boy. Thanks so much for sharing last week's video over on Twitter, you guys. Unfortunately, I can't do the usual thing where I say if you want to get your name in next week's Given video, because there is not going to be next week's Given video. Again, I would be way more emotionally distraught about this if I didn't know that we were getting a movie. Still, if you wanted to share this week's video, I ain't exactly gonna stop you, and it would be really appreciated. But with that said, we're gonna jump into this week's video, and I got a couple things that I want to mention. Four in particular. We have to talk about the whole It's Mutual thing. We gotta talk about dating within the band. We gotta talk about the future of the band, and we gotta talk about my boy's birthday. Let's go ahead and start with the whole It's Mutual moment, though, because this is possibly the most monumental depiction of young love or first love I believe I have ever seen. It is the most over-the-top dramatic, oh my god, holy crap, like this is the biggest thing ever moment I have ever seen. Best depiction of it I have seen. Because it remembers that it's an anime, and it can be weird and zany and crazy. It doesn't have to be super realistic, even if it is a slice of life. And they really lean into the zany in this week's episode, and that is not a knock. I hope Given does this even more in the upcoming movie, which, again, I will continue to say, oh my god, Given is getting a friggin' movie. Anyway, it is one of the best depictions, I would say, of the first love, or young love, because it totally nails what it feels like. Just the idea that when you realize that it's mutual and like it feels like this is the biggest thing that has ever happened. Like the whole world is not even aware what a big deal this is. And that's how Yuan Oyama feels right now. He's like, oh my god, this is the most important thing that has ever happened in the history of ever. And that is adorable as hell. You will continue to hear me say that Yuan Oyama and Sato are adorable as hell throughout this whole video, because this is adorable as hell. We even get this really fun sort of like Inside Out-esque sort of scene where we get inside Yuan Oyama's head and we see the different versions of him running around in like this little like room where they have like a TV to replay memories. It's sort of like, you know, like the main hub, sort of like in, again, Inside Out. Or I was gonna say Osmosis Jones, but it's more Inside Out. But it's very fun where we get to see like the cool Yuan Oyama, the emotional Yuan Oyama, the scaredy cat Yuan Oyama, like all the different versions of Yuan Oyama inside his head, going over the fact that they're like, oh my god, he said yes, he likes us too, oh my god, I'm freaking out, like even and then it takes the cool Yuan Oyama to be like, everybody chill, everybody relax. Calm Yuan Oyama is going to run us through something where we find out that Yuan Oyama once said that dating within the band is ridiculous. And, you know, of course, now he has a change of heart and they have to do the whole where they have to go ask the others if it's cool if they start dating, which again is adorable. These two are so adorable in this episode. Oh my god. Let's go ahead and actually dig into dating within the band, because I do feel like this is a very real thing that a lot of bands actually have to face, is what happens when people start to date within the band, or even just sort of date within the band's circle. That can be a pretty big problem, and I do totally understand where Haruki is coming coming from, because Haruki is very much against the idea. I do get where Haruki's coming from. I'm sure some people are going to be like, oh, Haruki, just let them date. But he's being the mother hen as usual within the band. It seems to be his role is to play mother hen. And to him, dating within the band comes with a whole mountain of issues. Not saying that these two are going to break up, and I certainly hope they don't. But if they ever were to break up, that would be a huge issue for the band. Would they try to make the band continue to go with them having broken up? Some bands do manage to pull this off quite nicely. Other bands, not so much. Not to mention, too, when you're in a band, you kind of want to play to the idea. You don't really want the public to know much about your personal life. And this doesn't just go for bands either. This is also for any sort of group in a music setting. Take, for example, K-pop, right? The people in K-pop groups typically won't tell people when they're dating somebody because it sort of ruins the idea of oh, I could be dating them. So Haruki does have a couple points. It does hurt the band's popularity to an extent. It does come with complications if the two of them break up. It has tons of problems for the band. Not to mention even just little fights can blow up into a bigger issue when you have other bandmates now getting involved in your relationship's drama. It makes sense, but at the same time, as Yueno Yama says, just let me have this. Yueno Yama saying, just let me have this to Haruki might be equal parts the funniest thing I've heard Yueno Yama say, and at the same time, one of the sweetest things I have heard Yueno Yama say, because that change in opinion, as we see the younger Yueno Yama before we really knew Sato, and him saying dating within the band is ridiculous, he would never do that, to actually pleading with Haruki to let him have this relationship. This is great character growth for Yueno Yama, and it does show to Sato that Yueno Yama is very serious about this relationship. And as for Kaji, well, he gambled right on this one because he knew the whole time that these two were going to make it through just fine, and that the band was probably going to be just fine whether or not they got together or not. But now that we got the whole dating within the band thing out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the future of the band, because we get one of the funnier scenes in the episode as we start to talk about the band getting their promotional shots. And of course, it's from my boy Take, #1 husbando, and I swear to goodness, if any of you try to steal my husbando, I will cut you. The band having their little photo shoot to get their promotional images for their website and for posters and all that is totally super genuine. The idea that they're trying their hardest not to laugh and crack up, and it's slowly making Take go insane because he just wants them to stay still and not have dumb, stupid grins on the entire time is hilarious. And even just outside of the comedy in this scene, it really goes to show how serious that the band is getting. Given really has become a bigger priority for all four of these characters, and even Take is stepping up to help out. And we see them not only getting their promotional shots, but also entering competitions like we found out last week. And it's to the point where even Haragi and them are saying really, this is getting pretty serious. And it makes me wonder if one day we'll end up having, maybe if the Given movie does well and we end up actually getting a second season, if maybe Haragi, Given would have to go toe to toe with Haragi's band and Take's band and all that. That would be genuinely pretty good, a tournament arc, but for bands. I would be kind of all about that. Genuinely, that's a good idea. That I would like to see that. I should like to see that. Please make that a thing. Pretty please, with a strawberry on top. Thank you very much. And finally, let's go ahead and talk about Haruki's birthday. It's my boy's birthday. I didn't even know it was my boy's birthday. I didn't get him anything, and now I feel bad. But we actually get to see Haruki, before he goes home to actually get his quote-unquote surprise party, he actually gets to hang out with his hairdresser friend, who I don't recall ever actually seeing this man's face before. So I was like, oh, we actually get to see his face and hear him talk casually with Haruki, which was a pleasant surprise. I don't know a whole lot about him, but he seems nice. But anyway, just wanted to address that because it's oh, hairdresser friend, maybe. But we end up cutting to Haruki going home, where he finds his entire home is covered in basically just to make sure that no mess gets around. I've never seen that before. I've never seen friends put up tarp to make sure that the house doesn't get messy. Honestly, kind of cool of them to do that, because it is immediately followed by Haruki getting a pie in the face from Kaji, because of course Kaji does that. More importantly though, I think I would like to point out that once again, the Haruki-Kaji Yugetsu relationship is weird and complicated as always. And I can't even really blame Kaji or Ugetsu on this one because it actually comes down to Sato's fault, technically, sort of, but not really. Haruki explains that he's actually kind of bummed out after Sato's song because it made Haruki realize that he actually felt pretty lonely. The man was totally content to have a one-sided crush on Kaji, which I'm shocked that he admitted that to himself. I mean, I guess we were all aware that that's what it was, but like him saying it, I was just like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we all knew. We all been knew. But the fact that he said that he was lonely made me go like, okay, so you do want a relationship to some degree. But he does say like, man, I need a girlfriend, which made me go like, nah, bro, you need a guy, and I got the perfect guy in mind. Although at the same time, I probably don't, because I don't know if that would even work. But that's the thing about Given that I like, is that I can't really fault Kaji. I can't really fault Ugetsu. I can't really fault Haruki. Like nobody's at fault. It's just a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of feelings in a lot of different directions, and nobody's really a bad person. It's just, would this relationship be would it properly work out without anybody getting hurt or being sort of toxic? And I really don't know right now. I do think that Haruki and Kaji would work out pretty well together, but Kaji has to figure out his stuff out. Like, he needs to figure himself out first before Haruki can actually get into a relationship with Kaji. But him saying he's lonely, it broke my heart, but it also made me go like, maybe we'll get there. Maybe the show's hinting like he's lonely because he wants to get together with Kaji. But I guess we'll have to wait and see, because yeah, it's not totally spelled out for us. But it did pique my curiosity, and I like that it was Sato's song that made Haruki realize his real feeling, like what he's actually feeling right now. And because Sato's song did a lot for a lot of people, including people in real life. I've seen people say that Sato's song moved them so much, and I think the show overall was like, in the same way that Sato's song surprised everybody in universe, I think Given as a show surprised a lot of people in reality. After Haruki's birthday, the rest of the episode kind of peters out. It doesn't really have much to say. It's just this sort of positive, upbeat, happy ending to this episode, as well as the overall series. And I believe that would be all of my thoughts on this week's episode of Given, the finale. Given, it's done. I'm gonna give this week's episode an A rank. It's an A rank episode. It just leaves you on this real feel-good note, and especially knowing that the movie's coming out. I think them dropping the news that the movie was gonna happen before the episode actually aired was really smart, because it just sort of lets this finale sort of stand as like this, it's not goodbye, it's just see you later. And I think that was smart. And the episode as a whole is just this sort of feel-good episode. I feel comfortable with an A. But hey, before we take off, as always, I have to give a big shout out to the good folks over on Patreon, namely those in the Earl Grey tier: Calvin Atkinson, Crowbar of Irony, Dominic, Urza, Ginkotaku, No For Nothing, Maria Teresa, Mirth Mouser, Nye, Omnigaramond, Cell, Shadow Creative, Sipco Games, Somastan, Steven, Tristan, and Veridin. Thank you guys so much for your continued support over on Patreon. It is super appreciated, and if you too would like to join the T Squadron, then by all means go ahead and check out the first link in the description. Check out our Patreon page, see all the cool rewards you can get over there, as well as access to our Patreon exclusive Discord. But on that note, everybody, that's going to be a video, so I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and if you did, then you've probably been on the internet long enough to know what to do already, so I ain't going to tell you, but I will say that it is appreciated. And if you're feeling stressed out today, because of the ending of Given, I get it, we're all feeling a lot right now, but if you are feeling stressed out today, you go have yourself a warm cup of tea, and I will talk to you all again real soon.